First off, I want to thank the brave men and women who work behind the wall. I want to thank them on a national level because their job goes unrecognized.
How do they try to turn a guard?
Well, correctional officer. Sorry, I apologize. But correctional officer. How you guys doing today? It's Anthony Gangi, host of Tier Talk. Today I want to discuss punitive being actually protective measures or preventive measures. It's amazing that we still have to have these discussions where people see our effort to prevent as solely being punitive. So I want to go ahead and do this argument again. And it's going to be a great dialogue because I will guarantee you that the people that watch this channel will also get involved. I recently had a discussion with a young woman who is very interested in our side of things. She does have a husband that is an inmate at a facility out in California. So she is very interested in our practices. She's very interested in understanding why those practices exist. And she's actually been protective of our channel because our channel has been belittled by those other channels. So she would stand in our defense and she would say, well, so far this channel has given me nothing but good advice. And I appreciate that. So when she has a concern, I'm looking to address that concern because that's fair. That's meeting someone in the middle. But with that said, part of the discussion became the punitive and then my argument being, it's preventive. And I want to explore that again today in this dialogue when we come back from our sponsors. Now, guys, if you haven't, the show Tier Talks for you breave men and women that work in corrections. So please subscribe, interact, engage, comment, hit that bell. The bell's going to notify you every time I post a video. When we come back, you ever heard that phrase, you say potato, I say potato? Well, you say punitive, I say preventive.
I wanted to attend a university that had an intelligence program. I wanted to look at problems different. I wanted to increase my critical thinking abilities. AMU offered those avenues to expand. Obtaining your degree as an adult, you're actually paying yourself and investing in yourself. You can't put a dollar on it, it's priceless. It's something that can never be taken away from you.
American Military University. Learn from the leader.
Thank you guys for listening to our sponsor. So I'm really going to talk about punitive segregation and what it really is. The preventive measure that we need to save lives. But what I want people to know right off the bat is that this is 101. I don't think this is just 101 for people that work in the field. I don't. Because I think this is a practice that we've been used to even in our home lives. Our kid does something foolish, time out. Take a time out, calm down. What inspired me to do this video was what happened in Oklahoma. Oklahoma had a series of attacks or fights at multiple facilities. And there was a need to act. So when you start to lose control of these facilities, what do you got to do? Lock it down. Lock it down and try to gain some sense of control. Identify what the concern is. And sometimes, guys, that takes time. It's not going to be done overnight. And you have to let it run its course because you can't have anyone fall through the cracks. Because if they fall through the cracks because we're rushing to get it done and not really doing what's supposed to be done, well, someone's going to get hurt or killed. Inmate, staff. So the thing is that these people that think that we're punishing the many for the actions of the few, if you want to look at it that way, it's a very narrow view. Because the real perspective is, and I'm telling you what the experience is, I don't want to punish them. That's not the goal. The goal is I'm looking to prevent. So until I can identify what the source is of this problem, then guess what? I'm locking it down. In our profession, in a law enforcement profession, corrections, police, we know that wolves exist amongst the sheep. Easy enough, right? We know wolves exist. We know they're there. We don't pretend they don't exist because our job is defined by the fact that we know they exist and we have to prevent. We have to protect and serve. So the thing is, sometimes what's going to happen is we're going to have to do what we can to make sure we find that wolf. And that means if I don't know where that wolf is, again, secure everything. Lock it down. Find out where that wolf is, because that wolf's a threat. And again, it's an effort to prevent. I don't understand how people don't see our effort to protect and serve. We react to something to protect and serve, but we're the bad guys for protecting and serving. It's mind-boggling. It is. I noticed maybe that what we could do is be better at how we explain what's utilized. Which means that when someone says, hey, you got to get rid of that punitive segregation, like, what's punitive segregation? We don't practice that. That's a primitive term that's being utilized for whatever movement. But in the end, we don't practice punitive segregation. We practice preventive measures. So is there a level of punishment there? Of course there is. But that's not the only thing that exists when you remove an inmate from one area to the other because they're making bad choices. It's being done for multiple reasons. One thing is, if I have a threat in the environment, guess what I got to do? That threat's got to go. We're not going to forget about you. We're going to put you here for a little bit. Relax and earn your shit back. Do what you got to do to earn your stuff back, because at the end, people are more motivated by a loss than a gain. So you know what? You just lost everything. Earn it back. We do it to our kids. Act foolish, take something away from you. Want it back, earn it. No different. It's no different. Now, while they're there doing their thing, guess what we can do? We can focus on the population, the rest of the people that want to do their time. A good 90, 95% maybe? That's a lot. That's a lot of people that want rehabilitation. That's a lot of people that are going for those programs. And trust and believe, those inmates are saying, hey, if there's a threat, get the threat out, because I want to do the right thing when I get home. Because I'm looking to transition properly. Can't do it when I have a threat, Gangi, because I can't keep focused. Can't keep focused when there's a threat in the environment. So I'm asking for help. So you move the person over. And again, they're not forgotten. Don't let people think those individuals are forgotten. They're not. They're being tended to. But sometimes we have to do what we got to do to prevent, to keep things moving, but most importantly, to keep our jobs what we're supposed to do. You know, we're supposed to protect and serve. If we don't make an effort to prevent, besides the fact that lives are going to be lost, we're liable. That's our job. You got an inmate that has assaulted every cellmate they get, that becomes a documented history. Now you're still telling me that I have to place that inmate with another inmate. Well, it's not a good move, because he's going to assault that inmate. How do you know that? Because he has a history of assaulting every inmate he bunks in with. So now the problem is, one day he's going to assault that inmate, and the family's going to come up and say, yo, let me ask you a question. This inmate has assaulted 6 or 7 inmates. Why would you think it would be okay for you to put him with my son or my daughter? So I just want people to realize that there's a lot more to the practices than a myopic view of, in this case here, punitive segregation. It's a lot more. It's a preventive measure. And sometimes when we look to eliminate a piece of that, we're eliminating the whole thing. And that whole thing, it limits us from doing our job if you eliminate that whole thing. We can't do our job properly. That's why we're so passionate for it. We're not passionate because we want to see people thrown to the hole and whatever it is that you think we're passionate about for, that's totally opposite of what we do. We're passionate because that's our means to protect and serve. That's our means to prevent. And if you take away that tool, it puts us all at risk, including the inmate population. So just remember that. Remember, sometimes what you feel is one thing, maybe many. And when you go to attack the one thing, you're going to lose out the many. And the problem here is this, is that we're going to have no way to deal with the wolf. When you eliminate our ability to take that wolf out, to remove that wolf from the environment, there's going to be no rehabilitation. There's going to be nothing happening. Remember, we need to have an environment that's conducive to rehabilitation. That's the focus. That's what you want. Then you got to let people that know the job, the officers, the frontline professionals, give us that environment. You have to give them a way for us to make that environment conducive. Make it an area where we can learn. Make it safe and as secured as possible. And We cannot do that if we eliminate tools that are meant to prevent, meant to protect and serve. As always, guys, the show is Terror Talk. If you haven't, please subscribe, interact, engage, comment, hit that bell. That bell's going to notify you every time I post a video. Stay safe.